So now what do I do? Well, I guess there's only one thing. There's something I'd like to know. Are you real? Can you feel?
Hi friends, I'm Prairie Vintage. My name's Linda. I'm an energy intuitive reader here on YouTube. I use spirit, my intuition, the tarot to communicate energies to you guys, fantastic viewers. If you guys are new to this channel, welcome. I'm so glad you guys found me. And for those of you guys who are returning, I'm so blessed. I'm so grateful to be here again today doing your reading. All of you guys are very safe and welcome in this space with me today. And I can't wait to get into this reading, although this reading is going to be kicked off by an intro message, which might put you in a little bit of a tailspin. I do suggest you listen to the intro message because this is totally connected to all three piles and how this is pulled through with my channeling, okay? And not all of you guys are going to understand or understand or agree, and that's fine. Okay, but this isn't anything about agreeing, and this isn't anything that you can intellectually sort of comprehend, because this isn't a something that your mind is supposed to understand or comprehend. Okay, this is what I'm talking about here is going to be something that is going to make sense to some of you guys, is kind of going to make sense to some of you guys, and is going to make no sense to most of you guys. And for some of you guys, you're going to be leaning right into what I'm saying because you're like, you know, right there. And the whole sort of intent here is to push those of you guys who are like on the edge, who are right there, almost there. And I'm going to push you into the edge, okay? Or over the edge, I should say. So it's not because I enjoy pushing people. It's because I know what's on the other side. I know what happens when you go over the edge. And it's liberating. Okay, and so it might create some existential terror and some disorientation. Okay, if we resist or fight or not want to sort of go in surrender mode. And so I'm asking that if you feel you're going over the edge, you know, we might take a couple of steps and then try to turn back. And that's when we're in a lot of trouble. There's no turning back. Okay, there is no turning back. Now, like I said, none of this is conceptual. Because if I put words to anything and conceptualize ideas and what is happening, then I'm creating illusions for you. And so there is no journey. Okay, there really is no journey, although we've all experienced a journey. That's because what we're experiencing is a set of experiences. The part that we are really sort of understanding is the thoughts and the inner world while we're having that experience, that journey. And that's the part that I'm challenging here. That every single one of us, right here, right now, and it doesn't matter whether you're on a twin flame journey or just living your everyday life, however you do, the present moment of right here comes with it a reality with a capital R that is happening in the right here, right now, that is not on any sort of timeline. There is no form. There is no start and stop. Time isn't linear in this space. In fact, there is no divine feminine and divine masculine when it comes to what I'm explaining here. There is no self, but yet you can go back and visit the identity of self without attaching, without understanding that you are any of those things. that the person that you're engaged with is not a divine masculine or a divine feminine, however you flip it, that there really is no special journey or specific journey you're on that's labeled anything at all. And so, right here, right now, in reality, I'm asking you to sit with yourself and see, where's the group of energy happening? Is it in your head? Is there a story in your mind about what you're waking up and doing every day that is continuously sort of being pushed as an agenda or being pushed as an experience that's continuing? Because I'm going to tell you that there is no continuation of anything. If we're trying to continue something or pick something up from the previous day, then we're still an illusion. Now, like I said, you could be on a journey, but this isn't what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, for this journey that I'm referring to, there's a spiritual awakening that goes beyond a hint of something that starts to create the unbinding of the identity of who we are, the conditioning. And we get on this path, this experience of the unbinding. All the identities we created starts to fall away. We start to see through the illusion. But that is just the first part. Then we start to create another illusion. What is the illusion, Linda? The twin flame journey. That's the illusion. There is no twin flame journey. Just like there is no self identity. And we might have to come back here because we're not quite sure what I mean by no self identity. But for those of you guys who have gone through the first part and no longer identify as the false self, before you met this person, or before you had your near-death experience, or before you came into a spiritual awakening process, and I'm using words just to give you guys an idea of what it is that's coming up here, but this is more than just words. You've come to a point of identifying that you're on a journey of sorts, and now we start to create another set of false self identities. My journey, my divine masculine, where we will come into union, how we'll come into union. Those are all illusions. This journey, okay, if you're on the one I'm talking about, you could be on another one, that's fine. There's lots and lots and lots of different sort of journeys, if you will. This one specifically I'm talking about here to the collective that's tapped into the frequencies that I'm picking up, is on the road to the unbinding of the self. That's the twin flame journey, where everything falls away, all stories, all identities. The spiritual ego falls away. And all you're left with is consciousness and the present moment. Now, this doesn't mean that you don't have the ability to have new feelings, new experiences, but you're at a point of consciousness where There is nothing between you and your current experience. The protective mechanism of the ego that would go into the mind, that would slightly resist what's happening by distracting itself or by attaching to whatever's being said or shown and lean into it and follow it, is all a form of distraction, where we identify our distractions and we're no longer distracting ourselves with a story of a twin flame. We're no longer distracting ourselves by going in the mind and creating, narrating what this journey is about. That's like justifying our suffering. It started here and it's going to end there. This is how it originated. This was the point of the beginning of my twin flame journey, and this is where it's at. This is how it's going. All of that is a mind story. It's still an identity. It's the illusion. It's Santa Claus. You're having an experience in the present moment, and whether you choose to distract and go back to the story, and it's the same as the past, when before this twin flame journey grabbed you, that you were waking up and committing yourself to that identity, the work story or the other relationship or whatever it was that you were doing, that you worked on detaching yourself and understanding that that version was actually not you, that you were not happy, chasing ego, chasing desire, trying to fulfill it in the material world. And this isn't stuff that a lot of people are talking about. In fact, I don't know if there's anybody talking about this, because a true awakening is the unbinding of self. We could see the distractions in our mind. And so I do feel at a point in this journey, we start to create another identity, the one of the twin flame journey, the one that has a storyline. But anytime we're time bound, we know we're back into fantasy. Because the truth of the matter is, consciousness has no time frame. There is no time. There is just right here, right now, and everything all at once. And God exists in every single form, in every single thing, all at once, right here, right now. Omnipresent, omnibenevolent, omnipotent. And so if God is everywhere all at once, and everything all at once, that would add an expansiveness to this that has no start and no end. It pushes out. And this journey is all about you recognizing your God essence, taking you back to the unbound state. And now you can identify when you go into your mind, creating an attachment to a story, and you bring it back to the space of awareness of right here, right now, not bound to any thought, experiencing what's in front of you right now from the truest, realest place with no padding. It feels like you almost have no skin, and whatever's you're experiencing is coming through as an authentic emotion. Feel those emotions. Allow yourself to feel those emotions. And I'm talking about when we've done the work, when we identify when we're in thought, and the underlayer of that, because there's thought within thought within thought. Because just like this twin flame journey story is another thought story, the sufferer is a thought story. Who is suffering? There is no I to suffer. And again, this isn't a way to perceive the journey. This is the unbinding of the self, which is the awakening. Everything else is not an awakening. It could be a part of the process to get someplace, but it's like the pathless path. It's already here. There is no path. There is no journey. It's already here. It's here if you want it to be here. You have to turn and look towards yourself, because all of the distractions we use when we identify with something and get into thought, or can't sit with a certain idea of something, and we get pulled into another story, another thought, or attached to another thing that sounds better, feels better, chasing other concepts that might fit me more, resonate more. And those are all stories and thoughts, and there's nothing wrong with that. But that's not what I'm talking about here. This has nothing to do with thought. This has nothing to do with what resonates for me. This has nothing to do with choice. Now, this doesn't mean that you don't have a choice to stay in thought, or you don't have a choice to react how you do. This is when you're in reality, and when you have a true awakening and you unbind yourself from the identity, that you know that there is no choice to do anything. Reality is as it is. It unfolds as it does. You have no control, no bearing over reality as it is. Situations, circumstances, and people are engaged in reality, the dance of reality. Regardless if you're in your mind or observing, the reality is going to pan out exactly as it does. There is no controlling your set of circumstances. In fact, when you try, that's when you suffer. When you try to change how this will go, how you want it to go, when you resist, when you distract yourself, that's when you suffer. But when you truly surrender, you no longer let your mind take you into distraction, because the ego tries to protect itself. It doesn't want to go without an escape, because it feels safer when it has an escape route, when it could distract. It thinks it's protecting itself by creating an illusion. It creates space from you in reality to protect your identity and that vision, that story, that dream. But this is all about not being in fantasy. In fact, this twin flame journey I'm talking about is the polar opposite from illusion and fantasy and story. It has nothing to do with how we identify. It's finally being awake to our own thoughts, to seeing that in which we hung on to and saying, I was creating a belief system within a belief system. And then challenging ourselves to let it go. The hardest part is to admit to ourselves that that's just a belief and a thought. It doesn't exist. It might shatter our world, but it is so liberating when we allow ourselves to let it go, because all that's left is reality. We let go of the identity to self, because there is no separate self. As long as that ego identity exists, there's always a separate I with a separate agenda, with a separate journey from that in which is happening. And what's happening is all of you and none of you, everything and nothing. And this journey per se, without it, we might have not have been pushed to this point of realization. But do we need this journey to have this realization? No. Is this person required or special in this journey per se in order for us to only be completing this journey if the other person is playing? No. So what story are you telling yourself? What spiritual concepts are you attaching to because they make more sense or feel more comfortable? And you can do that. That's not what I'm talking about, to not do that or to resist this or to change that. You can do that. But that's not what I'm talking about here. What I'm talking about here isn't a spiritual concept. It isn't another identity story to cling to follow. There is just engaging with consciousness and reality in the forever space that has always existed and will always exist, in vast stillness but constant shift. And the only thing that's permanent is the conscious self, the God essence, the God being that is unchangeable, while everything else sort of comes into manifest, shifts and changes in front of us. And we become one with all of that is changing and shifting, including our divine masculine. But he becomes just like everything and everyone else. That is oneness. That is unity consciousness, because there's only one consciousness of God, and it is very still, and it doesn't come with any identity and story. And it can only be seen when we surrender the little self, the self that was hanging on to the twin flame story or the identity story that was still lost in mind. Beautiful angels, we have 3 options to choose from today. We have the Rider-Waite Tarot, my very first tarot deck ever. Okay, traditional tarot. Option number 2, my favorite deck of all time, Murder of Crows Tarot. And option 3, Grunge Tarot, because I know a lot of us are connected to music very deeply with the Grunge Tarot. So, beautiful angels, sit with these 3 piles. We're going to take a look at you and your twin flame, your journey, your experience here, okay, to help you however this helps you. I love you guys very much. I appreciate you guys very much. Sit with this energy. There is no right, there is no wrong, okay? You're not doing anything right or wrong. There's just being and accepting reality exactly as it is. And this will relieve you of all stress. It will relieve you, okay? But it might, like I said, throw you into a little tizzy at first. So if you resist, it could become quite uncomfortable, okay? I love you guys. I'll see you at your pick. How are you, beautiful pile number 1? I do want to point you guys back to the intro if you just skipped here, okay? Go back to the intro, please, because this reading is really going to make more sense if you go there, you know, even if that part doesn't completely make sense to you. There'll be bits and pieces and nuggets that definitely are going to help you, okay, at some point in time, if you're truly experiencing something here that I'm sure you're probably going through if you've clicked on this video. All right, so let's take a look. Pile number 1, spirits, what's going on in their twin flame journey right here, right now, between them and the person they came here about and this experience they're having. Clear and concise message for the greatest and highest good. Please protect me and the viewer and the connection that they came here about for the greatest and highest good. Thank you so much, Spirit. Please help me to channel this in a way that Pile 1 will understand. Pile 1, thank you so much for being here. What is going on energetically here with Pile 1 and this twin flame journey and this connection? It covers you, crosses you, beneath you, behind you, crowns you, immediately before you, far future. See self. Oops, that one doesn't feel right. Let's do that again. See self. Sees environment. Hopes and fears. Outcome. Let's put it like that. Okay, I'm going to shift these over a bit so we have room. I'm going to put that there. No, sorry, I'm going to put that there. That feels better. Okie dokie. Let's pull some oracles as well. Pile number 1's journey. What is the energy here in this journey? I think what we'll do as well at the end is maybe pull some messages from your person. All of these spirits? No, okay. We'll pull some messages from your person. Okay, so for Pile 1. What is going on energetically? Pile 1's journey. Pile 1's twin flame journey. This experience they're having. What's going on? Clear and concise message for beautiful Pile number 1. Oh, that one went flying. Let me grab it. It flipped over and it said not the right time. Okay. Let's move these out of our way. I will leave these here because we will pull some messages from your person. Let's see. Let's get into what we have. Yeah, let's start with the oracle. So not the right time. Remember, don't take words literally. I'm going to be channeling the energy. We have gossip. I've heard rumors about you that has been difficult to ignore. Marriage. Signs. Bye. Endings. Message. And meetup. Okay. Overall energy, we have the Sun in reverse and the 8 cups. The Leo energy. Crossing, we have the Ace of Cups. Let's start here. So the Star and the subconscious areas. Aquarius energy. Passing, we have the Lovers, which is Gemini energy. And we have the Queen of Wands in the crowning position. Immediately before you, we have the 7 Wands. Far future, we have the Queen of Swords, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. Queen of Pentacles, the Sea Self in reverse, Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn. We have 9 Pentacles in the Sea's environment position and the Ace of Wands. And we have the King of Swords in the Hopes and Fears in the reverse, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. And we have the 7 Cups in the outcome. And the bottom of the deck, we have the 2 Cups. What's at the bottom of the 2 Cups? The Fool, more Aquarius. Okay, let me sit with this energy and start to channel, okay? Uh-oh. Okay. For this pile, I do feel this is a third party pile. Okay. Your twin most likely is with somebody else or made a decision. You feel like they didn't choose you. Now, if they're not legally married, they're almost married, or they're in another commitment, another arrangement of sorts here. I don't feel like the third party is work. I don't feel like the third party is an addiction. I don't feel like the third party is I feel like it is a marriage, but if it isn't someone they're romantically involved with, which I feel for a lot of you guys, there's an arrangement like that possible. It's the mother of the child or someone they were married to or an obligation of a marriage or a family. Okay. And as long as this person is sort of in that arrangement, I feel like you had to make a choice. You didn't want to be this person's sort of second option. What good are you doing here? And just sort of allowing this person to stay put where they're at and accept being sort of the other woman. It's not your role, and it's not anything here that's helping situation. And so I do feel like it's been very difficult for you. Okay, we'll get into the cards, but I'm just sort of channeling. It's been very difficult for you to, really always choose a decision here that was in line with the greatest choice, highest choice available here for the best possible outcome. But this doesn't mean that maybe you've struggled with at times being pulled back, engaging with this person. And maybe this person has been reaching out or has reached out again after you deciding to step away. But I think what I see here is the conflict is like, why is it so intense, this understanding you have that there is something about this person that's different, that keeps you sort of bound to them in some way, or stuck to the idea that they're going to have to make a change, because all logic tells you that this person doesn't have to do anything. And then what, are you in perpetual sort of state here? Why are you getting all sorts of dreams, signs, symbols, synchronicities, listening to things throughout the day that are confirming to you that this isn't just your third party situation that you've escaped from, that there's something going on between you and this person that hasn't yet been fulfilled or understood or completed? But how could that coincide with you pulling away to detach yourself from something that is not healthy? And so I think for maybe a lot of you guys, you wanted to believe, that this person would take time, or in time that they would choose and shift gears. But you had no choice but to believe what you see in the truth. And it's like, okay, maybe it's just right now that they're in this third party. Maybe right now they're just not seeing it. Maybe right now is like this other version of them, but it's like, is this mean this lifetime? Does it mean for a short period of time here? Like, what does this mean for me? And why can't I sort of move on, spirit? Or why all these heavy, intense spiritual experiences that I'm having that are bound to this person, that despite all that intensity and that inner knowing, I had to say goodbye? Is this some sort of cruel joke in some way? And you might have had to say goodbye several times. And some of you guys might still be in the process of completely saying goodbye, So walking away and not understanding what was the point, and what's the point of me walking away? What will this result in? There's uncertainty in the walking away itself, because we're having to trust where the divine is sort of guiding us. to say I will no longer sort of settle, or I'll no longer stay in a situation here which is emotionally dissatisfying for me, but still unclear or uncertain, like, of the whole process, or why the whole experience, or whether this even is sort of what you're supposed to be doing, and where it's going to lead you to, and whether it's going to resolve any sort of energy state so that you can close out a chapter, which I do feel for a lot of you guys, you just sort of want to close out. If you could just forget about this person and move on, that's the first choice that you would do. But we don't see or understand what this whole thing is about here. But I do feel like a lot of you guys are day in, day out struggling with the process. And this process is one that Spirit is saying is part of your journey, which is all about self-love. And until we fully fill our cup up, until we sort of return to God, if it were, knowing our true essence, our true fullness, then the next chapter sort of is on pause here, okay? Because this journey isn't about the timing for them so much as it is the timing for you. And although there is no such thing as time, it's like until this lesson is sort of understood. And so the mind puts a concept of time around it, but there really is no time happening here. There's just Spirit saying, when will you learn the filling of your own cup? When? Pile 1. Because this is what's actually stopping you from the next step, whatever this next step is, because you know that there's another phase here that seems to be drawing out. And this phase is waiting for you. It's not waiting for this person to figure it out or to come to you or do something different. They're going to do whatever they do, okay? But I have a feeling that the next phase in this journey specifically is when you finally connect to your authentic self. And you might already think you're authentic or that you're doing something here, and you might be in that process, but as long as we're forever sort of seeking or chasing, we're still not knowing that the authentic self is right here, right now. And you still haven't connected to it. And I don't know how long it's going to take you to connect to it. And so this is why I say to go listen to that intro message over and over and over again, okay? But if that's not in the words that you understand, because spiritual concepts are hard to describe conceptually in a way that helps us have shifts, take a listen to my authenticity video. This is all about self-love, self-acceptance. And this isn't telling me that you're like, you know, have low self-esteem by any words, and you're sitting there like, I don't deserve this, or I don't deserve, but no, this is you underneath it all in your inner child needing to heal something about having to prove yourself or having to settle for certain things that you feel you're not good enough, which is untrue. And you have to shatter that belief. That doesn't exist. You have an identity to a story, a thought from childhood that is getting in the way of you knowing your full self-worth here. Anytime there's any limitation, it's because we have a thought that limits us, a belief of ourself that's been implanted at some point in time for you when you were younger. You weren't shown maybe appreciation. Maybe you had to fight to be loved or accepted or seen, or to have someone spend time with you. You had to put up with whatever was sort of coming your way. And so you created this belief or this way of being that needs to be looked at. So this takes going inwards to really, really question that story you're telling yourself of why you do what you do. Okay? And a good way to do this is not what you do today so much as the why. Not how you do what you do today, but why. Why do you do what you do today? And your conviction and your reason why you do it is going to give you a lot of the answers that you're looking for. Okay. And I'm not just talking about this twin flame journey. I'm talking about the real reason why you do what you do or fight for what you fight for. There's a why in there. There's a fighter in there. It's trying to prove something. It's trying to understand this, but it's externally. And Spirit is talking about you understanding this inside yourself. And so this process is one of healing. And you've done healing, but I feel like this is healing to the psyche in some way that's maybe releasing a lot of emotions, you know? And on this journey, there's a lot of different areas, and none are more important sort of than others, but to the healing as a whole. And so there is a big sort of need to, like I said, really take a look at the self-love portion of this, self-worthiness, and heal this part of self. Because I do feel like this is what this whole experience was for, to put you on this path, to overcome this. And in this lifetime, this is what's available to you, to shatter any beliefs or any limitations about your own story, about yourself. And so you've been engaged in this twin flame journey. And what you've been experiencing has been mirroring back to you your what's going on inside of you. And I can't stress that enough, because we could just say, oh, it's just mirroring something inside of me. It's like this thing inside of you're still attached to, that you think is you. That's what this is mirroring back to you, that you're not good enough or worthy enough or seen or valued, which is so far from the truth. Because of how you're engaged still. The reasons why you're still sort of talking to yourself the way you talk to yourself. And as long as you're sort of still upkeeping that story, which could go on forever, by the way, unless it goes recognized, you'll continuously sort of be trying to prove yourself and fight for that thing. Because you already know inside of yourself spiritually that this is untrue. You know you're beautiful. You know you're intelligent. You know you're full of everything you could possibly ever seek out there is already within you. But something inside of you is still trying to externally grab it and bring it towards you. What are you trying to bring towards you that's not already there? Spirit is saying, sit with yourself until you find it within you. That's the next phase here. You're not seeing or understanding this. So I'm going to push you towards, again, you could do what you like, heavily uncovering this within yourself. That's where the work needs to be sort of looked at and done. Because I feel like there's a foot off the pedal and sort of looking at other areas, potentially, you know, other thoughts and certain parts of self here and there that come through. But there's one main vein here that's sitting unchecked within you, and that's a core main belief of who you think you are and what you're worthy of and what you deserve. It's going unchecked, and it's not allowing you to progress to the next phase. You're not seeing it. You're too close to this identity of who your mind is telling you who you are and what you're worthy of and capable of. That is reflecting in this dynamic of why you even engaged with this person or would be willing to engage with this person. So there's a dependency on the out there is going to bring to me whatever it is that you are feeling is still missing from yourself. And that is the illusion. And so it doesn't mean keep examining out there more until you understand it with your mind. That means let go of any thoughts and see what's left. When all those thoughts are sort of falling away, there's going to be one sort of main belief. That's the thing you need to really look at and see through. That's an illusion. And so if you're capable of identifying when you're in the mind and in thought, allow yourself just to feel whatever comes through. And then you will sense and feel where that belief is. And that's where you need to do a lot of self-inquiry. That's what you need to really understand in order for you to understand that what it is that you're trying to find and what it is you're trying to connect to is actually already within you. It's not something that this person is going to bring to you. Because I feel like for this pile, you might already know for sure, I'm on a journey, like it's real to me. And now we're really attached to that story that this person is going to balance us out in some way here. But that's not true at all. You know, once this person is single and available, then the journey sort of picks up and then I grow and I send more. No. Now, ascension is just, a mind story. What is ascension anyway? Nothing. There's just being, and then there's examining the thoughts and the beliefs and the identities. And that's what we're trying to eradicate here. None of those stories are you. Because I feel like we're putting a lot of weight on when this person finally sees the light, when this person does the work, when this marriage falls apart, when this person finally understands something. And you are right that this person most likely is going to have to come to some understanding, and that both of you guys at some point might come to some understanding that's on the same page. But Spirit is talking about that has nothing to do with your journey, actually, at all. Like, get rid of that narrative. The only thing Spirit is talking about is you looking at yourself from the angle of an unworthiness here that is seeping through your actions, what you're fighting for and what you're trying to attain for yourself. That has to be questioned and looked at repeatedly until you crack through that belief. Because there's a lot of more options for you. If you think about it, when we're identified with any story, we're very limited because that's the scope of our understanding of ourself. And so our world is small. Meanwhile, when we remove that belief and those stories and that narration, then everything is possible. Every relationship could be available to us. Every experience is available to us. But we see it with conscious eyes, and we can choose who and where we engage. But right now it feels very limited and we feel stuck. Because we're telling ourselves and we're understanding this experience to be this person. And it is this person that sort of generated this whole thing from within you. But it isn't this person that has to continue this thing with you. It's you now having to pick up the ball to shatter any stories or any limitations of how you see it going or what this person would mean in this journey. That doesn't exist. There is no this person in a future state for you. And this, what I'm saying here isn't that this person isn't going to be available for you ever. What I'm saying is Spirit wants you to remove your walls, which is coming through in way of thought about who this person has to be and how it should go. And it's not ironing out every single detail. You're saying they got to do this at this time. No, but you're still attached to, at some point, this person must or will or has to do something or something like this. And Spirit keeps pushing it back to, you need to remove any understanding that you have and allow reality to be what it is. And then Spirit will show you the truth, because then you're free. Then you'll start to see all the different options in front of you. Because I feel like a lot of you can't move forward and date other people, or can't move on with your life, or can't experience love. And I feel like even with this person, you wouldn't be capable of experiencing love, because love is what you're learning about, which really begins with self-love. And so Spirit is saying, this is why it's not the right time. Not because in the 3D world, this person is under any obligation to another, because it's not working in the 3D world that there's other circumstances. None of that stuff actually is the reason why. The reason why you can't have a Two of Cups, Spirit is saying why it's stalled here, is because we really, really need to have a cup available to give in the Two Cups. And you're not. You can't give a Two Cups in the Two Cup story, because your cup is not understood by you. It's not filled by you. It's not connected to by you. Once you fill your cup and connect to this part, and this isn't just through words of affirmation, I'm good enough, I deserve love. No, this is shattering the belief that you have, that was conditioned upon you, that you have to fight for love, or that you're only appreciated and approved and seen if you do this, or if you do that, or if you're, you settle in some way here. You have to understand, why do you settle in that way? There is no limitation when it comes to what you're worthy of. Everything is abundant right here, right now. There is no limited scope of how someone can love you, and when they can love you, and how you have to be when the love is ready. And no, those are all stories, and it's not true. And I feel like for this pile, you want to be free. You don't want to have to wait. You don't want to have to be this person, or else I'm kind of screwed here. And you're really feeling screwed here, incapable of loving another, moving on to another, or engaging in any relationship, unless it's this one. And Spirit is saying, no, even in this one, you'd be screwed. Even in this one, you would. So we have to look at this Ace of Cups, the belief, so everything can become very clear afterwards. Because once this is like this, it becomes very clear that I have a lot of options, and I could see which ones aren't for me, that would undermine me, or that don't reflect back to me what it is that I'm wanting to experience. And so I'm free to choose whatever relationship makes sense to me, makes me feel because now I know what it is that I need to sort of sit with and appreciate emotionally. It's not that I have to cling to a relationship to make me feel in any sort of way, or give me sort of an identity or anything, or that I'm dependent on an external person. It's that I can choose consciously choices within relationships, because emotionally I know what my cup is worth and who I want to give it to. Pile 1, this is your reading. I love you very much. You are so beautiful. No one out there can make you feel any way other than that in which you're telling yourself you feel because of an external circumstance. That's you telling yourself that. Or the voice of your parent / caregiver, or whatever your upbringing, okay? Not true. Examine that. Question that. Don't just take it, at full value here. I'll see you at the next one. Bye. Pile 1. I did promise you words from your person, what they wanted to communicate to you. Hopefully you guys haven't disappeared. Let's take a look at what this person wants to communicate to you. Okay, I do feel like you and this person are not together. And so what is it that pile number 1's person is wanting to communicate to them at this time? Clear and concise message for the greatest and highest good. Don't take words literally here, okay? Just got to keep saying that. I know that we are spiritually connected, so there's something there. You're not going crazy, okay? I hate this distance between us. It doesn't feel good. So you're not the only one who feels the way you feel. No matter who I am with, my thoughts always lead me back to you. There's a need to drive action and change, and you're mirroring back to this person change, you know? But the only change will happen when you connect to your Ace of Cups. And if you don't, this person will maintain in their world of whatever they're doing here. No matter what happens, my heart will always belong to you. Look at these two, very similar. This isn't over between us. I'm coming back for you. So Spirit with the star even is talking to you about, you know, this journey isn't a dream. This isn't something that's just like throwing you into tailspin just for the sake of it. There's more experiences here to be had, but we have to graduate to the next phase and get rid of the belief. No one we're in mind. We both need a time to heal. Yes, that's exactly what I talked about. So this is happening for you guys for a reason. You guys aren't ready to be together. Neither you nor this person can extend a cup. And not because this person is married or unavailable or third party. You can't extend a cup. Once you fully connect to the cup, this person will be at a point where they've healed. Why can't you give a cup, pile one? Maybe we are better off separated. So this person also goes through periods of doubt that they can't. And so I feel there's a stagnancy here, you know? So what can we do? Whatever's within our power. Dissolution of beliefs. Self-inquiry. Keep transmuting the egos. Keep the self-inquiry going until we really, really identify all the thoughts that are sort of narrating in the background, driving our actions. The bigger story, you know, the bigger story that we're on a journey or that there's going to be something else external from us that's going to shift. And no, it's just, what are we faced with in this present moment? And are we conscious, fully present to deal with this reality as it is, to learn and feel and grow from it, to see where it leads us to? Or are we too wrapped up in the story and the thought in that world and that dream state? Okay, so pile number one, this is your reading, and now I'll let you go. All right, bye-bye. Hello, pile number two. You guys picked the Murder of Crows Tarot. We're taking a look at your twin flame journey, this experience that you're having, and what you need to know about what's going on here. I do suggest you go listen to the intro. In fact, if you are listening to this reading, I would encourage you to go there highly, because this reading is sort of a kickoff to that, okay? So, beautiful angel, let's take a look at your journey. What's going on in this connection? Clear and concise message for pile number two in regards to what they're experiencing right here, right now in this twin flame journey, this experience, and with the person on their mind. What do they need to know about this experience, Spirit? Clear and concise message right here, right now. Thank you so much. Please protect me and the viewer as I channel this message for the greatest and highest good of pile number two. Please help me to channel this in a way pile two will understand. Please protect pile two and their person as I channel this message. Thank you so much, Spirit. Covers you, crosses you, beneath you, behind you, crowns you, immediately before you, far future, we have the Three Cups and the Page of Cups in reverse showing up. See self, hopes and fears. No, sorry. Sees environment. Hopes and fears. Outcome. All right, we'll reveal these shortly. Let's pull some oracles as well for pile number two. What's going on in this connection? for the twin flames for pile 2 and this collective spirits. What's going on in this? Now, I will try to remember to pull messages from your person at the end. Okay, so stay tuned for love messages from your person. What's going on with pile number 2 and this journey? Clear and concise message for the greatest and highest good of pile 2 spirit. What's going on energetically in this connection? No, that one did not feel right. We have wrong timing and unawakened that I will pull. Okay. What do we do? Let's take a look at the oracle cards first, okay? Wrong timing and unawakened. Are we dealing with a divine masculine who is unawakened still? Let's see. There could be a smoker in this connection. Take that as confirmation. Okay. Or even a divine masculine that likes to wear his hair in a ponytail. He could definitely have facial hair. Could kind of look similar to this guy, actually. This could be a confirmation for someone here. Okay, let's take a look. So we have union. Starting over. Cheating. Ignoring. Intimidating. And telepathic. I close my eyes and speak to you in 100 silent ways. Partying. Been partying with my friends to avoid being alone at home. Work. I've been keeping myself busy with work and improving my finances. And clueless. Honestly, I don't even know what I did wrong. Maybe you'll tell me. Sorry, I don't mean to laugh, but interesting. Okay, very interesting. Let's take a look at the overall energy here in this twin flame connection. We have the Page of Pentacles. Crossing, we have the 7 Cups. Subconscious, we have the 8 Swords. Passing energy, we have 2 Swords in reverse. Crowning card, we have the Ace of Cups in reverse. In the near future, we have the Star, Aquarius energy. For our future, we have 3 Cups and the Page of Cups in reverse. See self, we have the Ace of Swords and the Knight of Wands in reverse. Sees environment, we have the 3 of Pentacles in reverse. Hopes and fears, we have 3 Wands in reverse. Outcome, we have 7 Wands in reverse. And overall energy, we have the 7 Swords. Cheating. And under that, we have 10 Swords. Okay. This is coming through very clearly here, okay? For pile 2. Don't even know where to begin to peel this back. There's a lot of parts here. Okay, so you're dealing with a divine masculine here who is still unawakened. Okay, now this doesn't mean that there is even such a thing as awakened. Okay, there's just the unbinding of self and egos and identities. So he might be awakened in many ways, you know, awakened to the corrupt system, awakened to certain parts, you know, of self. But there's a part of himself that needs to be awakened to the fact that whatever he is still stuck in with his matrix stories that are getting in the way of his own ascension and growth. And I feel like he is having to go through an experience in order to get him to wake up. And what is this experience? I think it's happening right now, if I got to be honest, because everything shows me in your energy that you're surrendered. So we feel let down. We feel like we cannot trust this divine masculine. Now, this comes through as cheating, which is the more aggressive point of this Seven Swords. Okay, but it's like, I can't trust my person. And maybe at one point you trusted them, or you guys were together, came together, trusted them. There is an energy of your person putting up a boundary and putting up a wall energetically with them maintaining this unawakened state, whether they're in your life or not in your life. And for some of you guys, I feel like there's been an ending, but let's go back to this. This person's wall comes up in way of distraction big time. Everything they can do to distract themselves from waking up is what they do. They drink, they party, they hang out with their friends, they smoke, and I'm not talking about tobacco, I'm talking about getting completely high. Focused on work, ignoring themselves, ignoring their true self. So there's no such thing as wrong timing. But you're in a different sort of state here than this person. This person is living in a bubble world, keeping themselves sort of distracted. Because to awaken to themselves would be the highest calling. They'd have to face themselves. They'd have to walk into their courage. And so there's a lot of fear here, because this divine masculine might have an identity that he is strong and capable and already awakened, or that he is one version of him in his mind. And so there's no sort of looking at this other part and being comfortable with that, accepting that. It's too intimidating. And so I'll keep distracting myself, no matter how strong this person feels connected and attached to you. I feel like this person is intimidated by your energy, because I do feel like you are awakened and have been awakened, and might tap into a higher state of consciousness that sees through this, that sees through your own self. And so he senses and he knows that there's something off here. But because he's still lost in the distraction and in the mind matrix, it's not very clear yet, But his pull to you and his understanding to you is there. He does want to come into a balance with you. But his way of coming to you would be this unchecked way, this unregulated way that isn't fully present in the conscious way, but full of all of this other stuff that is actually not him. And so I feel like a lot of you guys might have put up a boundary here, or might have said, the only part of you that I will accept in moving forward with a union is the pure conscious self, not the self here that is attached to all of this other stuff unhealthily. The avoidance and the distracting self needs to fall away. Otherwise, stay where you're at. And I feel like a lot of you guys have left, or there's like a period here where this person is now sitting with their partying, their work. For some of you guys, these are workaholics. Some of you guys, these are partyaholics. Some of these guys are just totally getting high or drunk to the point that they're discombobulated, because that's how they distract, rather than thinking about what it is they need to do to get their ishness together. And so let's go to you. I feel like you are understanding that there's an opportunity for you to explore whatever future that you want. But in this case, I think you're understanding this person might not be the most reliable person, and you're really questioning, is this person a part of a choice here that I even want to choose? Or work with. And I feel like in the past, we could have certainly felt very limited and stuck to certain ways of engagement or understandings we had about which choices we had in this connection or how to engage and navigate in this connection. But I feel like we've recently made a decision here to get us out of limbo, or to get us out of uncertainty, or to get us out of a limiting situation here, so that we can focus on what is then available for me. Because I feel like this person was limiting you from having an emotional new beginning for yourself with another person, with yourself, with whatever. A new beginning to experience emotions outside of whatever was going on here with this person, because that was very limiting. It's either this sort of torturous engagement where you're dealing with someone who is unawakened and it's not really fully fulfilling, and sort of engaged as best you can till I think there was a snapping point, because I do feel like we can't accept this person's inauthentic self anymore, just like we couldn't accept our own inauthentic self at some point. And we might have had a very hard time detaching from this person or understanding this and realizing that there's something more, that the universe has more than just whatever's going on here with this person. And so I do feel like this is a period of pause in order for you to heal this part, the attachment you might have had to this person or this connection or this idea that this person would wake up or would see the light or would, I don't know, snap out of it somehow, that just never came. And so it's like, I can see that maybe there would be a future if this person would ever get it together at some point, but what's most important here, I feel, for you is this healing process, because you just couldn't go down the road of how things have been working with this person who seems very much on some other planet. Now, spiritually, everything's aligned. Other dimensions, things were aligned, but in the 3D world, there was a complete misalignment here. And it's like, I'm not going to lie to myself. And by accepting this version of him was keeping up the lie, was robbing myself, was cheating myself of having an emotional beginning. A true fulfilling experience that I was sort of sacrificing, in order to make way or give space, because I do feel like you are ignoring your own needs here. And this is what you're healing. And if you're not there, this is what you will be healing. And so I do feel like you and your person are at a pivotal point where this needs to be healed and this needs to be fleshed out before there can be a reconciliation. Because I do feel like this person is fairly immature when it comes to doing the emperor thing, which would be to face all of these distractions in the face and be honest and say, maybe I don't have my drinking under control, or maybe I am choosing these things because I hurt here, here, and here. But if they're not honest about it, then they'll keep sort of chasing these dragons, And so I feel like your person isn't ready to come forward to offer maybe an apology if there's one that's required, or see that they are immature, because we could see it from the lens of, if they're focused on work. It's like, how could this be immature? It's like, well, emotionally it's immature because we're not allowing ourselves to feel, and so we're distracted in work. And immature could certainly be, choosing to do things that feel okay in the moment, which is very immature, because we got to put aside immediate gratification in order to sort of do the more honorable thing here, which a divine masculine would do. So I do see there being a coming together or a reconciliation of sorts at some point, but I feel like if it were to happen here, it's like this person is not capable of going to a 2 cups. The only thing that they're able to do with this wrong timing and this 3 cups is party with you, have a good time with you, gets to a certain level of depth with you, but be immature and not be able to go there emotionally, and you still being unfulfilled. And so you're seeing through this, and you're no longer wanting to pursue whatever this is, doesn't mean this person is completely out of the question forever. It just means the state in which this person is at is not jiving with you. And you're seeing through this. You don't want this sort of an engagement. It's not deeply emotionally fulfilling for you. And so you're seeing like this person is incapable here of showing up to put in the actual work that's required to build the thing that 2 twin flames would need to come together in order to build. And so how you're seeing this thing is it can't move forward, and it's not going to level up. It can't proceed. It can't progress as long as the false self still runs the show. And so I feel like you're at the verge here. And like I said, for some of you guys, you're just being encouraged to do this, is surrender. Because the more we try to make this work, the more we're sort of upkeeping this unawakened version of the divine masculine alive. That's what we're fighting for, the unawakened divine masculine. And Spirit is saying, let this divine masculine go. Do not fight for this connection in the state in which he's in. And if it is supposed to start over at some point in time, it needs to start over from a place that is capable of fulfilling you when he's awakened, not from a state where he's only capable of providing you with the 3 cups, where he's prioritizing other things, work, people, distractions, addictions, party behaviors in a way here that doesn't allow him to be authentically true and evolved. And the immature version of him will just creep in, and there'll be cycles. So the only way to heal and shift this thing is to surrender, like truly surrender, meaning I'm going to let this underdeveloped divine masculine go in this 3D world. And although we have a telepathic bond here that connects and traverses this time and space, it's like the 3D version of him isn't enough, and it's not, because it falls short here. It's still trapped in illusion. His awakened self is enough. His purest potential self is enough, but the self that he chooses to sort of engage with here is stuck in a world of distractions that I feel Spirit is wanting you to not be pulled into. Don't be pulled into the distractions in the matrix, in the fantasy. It's not real. The partying isn't real. The drinking isn't real. The distractions aren't real. The choices he's making are all based on distractions. And you've been a part of that distracting world for some time now. That's what's the obstacle here. The obstacle getting in the way of you having an actual legitimate opportunity to create something, whether it's be with him or in your own world. There's a new beginning in the 3D world for you to create something that's real. That's not fantasy. That's not squandering. That's not just burning and turning of energy, because all of this stuff isn't generating anything. It's just a burning and turning of energy. There's no growth in work and work and work and work. It's burning of energy, partying, burning of energy, drinking, distracting, burning time, not progressing. That's not helping the collective. That's not doing anything. That's just living in a fantasy, trying to upkeep a fantasy world. And so I feel like you can see it. And I feel like you're coming to understand it. And I feel like maybe we still haven't been able to communicate this to them, or maybe we're still trying to detach ourselves from their energy here, that we're not a part of that dysfunction. We're not a part of this unawakened divine masculine. The only part we connect to is the conscious masculine behind all of this busyness. And unless he is fully awakened and acknowledging and addressing his awakened self, then he is in distract mode and he's not authentic. And there is no space for you there in that inauthentic world. And so there's a need to end that, however you end it. And I feel like a lot of you guys have ended it already. Okay, so if you have, I don't really see anything other than the fact that this is a healing period for this divine masculine who was in the wrong timing for this awakening with you by his side or with you in his fantasy world, upkeeping that. But now with you removed, it's painful because what's he left with? Having to really answer to himself, because he feels the union and he feels your connection and he can only ignore it for so long. And your strong power of pulling your energy into reality with a capital R, knowing what is conscious and what is sort of matrix, is very intimidating for him, because this is calling him to step up, not to rob himself with this other version of him that's unawakened. So I do feel like for this pile, there might be one more message, and I'll use the tarot, and then we will pull what it is he wants to say to you. I'm saying he, because that's how it's coming through, but I'm just talking energy, okay? So final message here in regards to this connection. What is it that pile 2 is needing to know about this connection and this dynamic? Clear and concise message for the greatest and highest good of pile number 2, Spirit. Final message. 9 wands in reverse, surrender. 5 wands in reverse. So that's what we could shift the dynamic here. The self-sabotaging ways, which is all of that stuff that I mentioned that will keep perpetuating unless we surrender. 10 cups. Yeah, that is the road to the 10 cups. 8 pentacles. 7 wands. 3 wands. And the King of Swords, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, and 5 pentacles. So Spirit is confirming here divine masculine energy, okay? He's most likely in his mind. He has to experience something that makes him have to sort of think and act authentically. And what does he experience? He experiences lack and loss. You not being around, him feeling pushed out, left out, abandoned, whatever the state is, okay? And this isn't saying, you know, leave them so that they could wake up. But in a way, it's like you surrendering leaves this divine masculine in a state of feeling abandoned. And he'll have no choice but to take a real hard look at himself where he's inauthentic, to admit some truths to him that he needs to understand and see beyond the veil of the distraction here. There's a deeper understanding that this divine masculine still hasn't come to see about himself, because he's been not wanting to see it and avoiding to see it. But the more he suffers, the more he's without, the more he's pushed out in a way where he feels victim. And you're not pushing him out to make him feel victim. You're literally saying, this is unconscious in you and I cannot engage in unconscious behaviors. So I'm surrendering. I'm no longer sort of staying here, you know, because all that's been experienced is a 5 swords. And so Spirit is really talking about there being a potential self, a potential of this connection, a potential of coming together. But it's all potential. But this potential is the vision, you know, that we use to sort of make decisions, to understand things. And so if we sort of can know of a better way is out there, that the divine is vast and that reality is so much better than what we're experiencing, then we're willing to try different things or be open to certain things or shift how we see things. And so I feel like this connection is feeding your person with an inner knowing that there's something greater within themselves and something greater to strive for that's more emotionally fulfilling than this in which they're experiencing. How do they get there? It's what drives them. They just feel it emanating from this connection. But how do I get there? I have to acknowledge the things that aren't working, the ways that I'm sabotaging myself, the way that I have not been able to surrender. I got to put in the work. I got to put in the effort. And I've been defending this unconscious behavior, but they need a reason to fight, to really sort of confront themselves. And I feel like a lot of them might sort of have no choice but to do this once everything is sort of stripped from them. And this is the only way that there's going to be progress in this connection leading towards a 10 cups, is when they finally surrender and say, I have to fight for something greater than that, in which is the distraction. Because the distraction doesn't feel good. I feel very left without that in which made me feel good for a limited time. And it was limited because I was in and out of reality. And now my divine feminine is removed. So what do I do? What do I do? Well, for one, I got to be honest and take a look at my shit. Take a look at my world. Take a look at my distractions, what it is I'm telling myself. Or not wanting to see or admit. And then there'll be a reason for me to fight out of this. Because this divine masculine has to fight his way out of that. And although it isn't an illusion because it's just a belief, it's like to break a belief structure, to break an unhealthy habit, like a vice or a way that we keep falling back on. Takes a lot of work, takes a lot of conviction. And so I do feel like this divine masculine is on the precipice here of this shift, if you've already sort of walked away. He's coming to see and understand because he doesn't want to be on the outs here. Yeah. You're his person and you understand him like no one else. And you now no longer sort of see him in that way. And you're removed from his world. And he thinks, man, my divine feminine is not going to see me in the way that I truly am. Divine feminine is seeing me in the way that I've been acting. And that's not me. How authentic is that? And she's not seeing me in the way that I am. Like, that doesn't feel good at all. When I know that that's really not me. That the version of me that she sees is this version. There's a disconnect here. And it doesn't fit well with him when he feels like you're his person. And now you're just not engaged. And for some of you guys, he feels like you're let down or you're angry, like he's really let you down. He's chosen this distracted state, this matrix self, over this connection. So now he has to prove himself to be that in which he did choose or he did do, because he isn't that version of him. And so I feel like he's working hard to prove to himself that he isn't that. But I do feel it's to get your buy-in or to get you to see something. But Spirit is really talking about him working hard towards undoing that belief. That's what he needs to focus on, not this connection, not convincing you, not getting you to see him in a certain way again, because he wants to fantasize about what it could be like with you, but still hang on to this dreamy state of illusion. But truly break free and move forward and ascend and grow and push himself and challenge himself to really become authentic and admit to himself where he has been cowardly, inauthentic, robbing himself, robbing this connection of a true experience. That's what's worth fighting for. Not a cause to drink, not a cause to endlessly burn and turn, to spin his tires in the material world. to remain sort of drunken state of distraction through the mind, through the story. It's like a never-ending trap, and he's needing to find his way out of that. So let's take a look at what he wants to say to you. Pile number 2. Pile number 2's person. What is it that he wants to say? No, please don't take these words literally. Okay. Just going to see, we're going to channel what comes through here. What does pile number 2's person wants to say to pile 2 right now? One more, Spirit. Okay. I hurt myself by letting you go. This is you. I do feel like if you guys are still involved with this masculine, there's a need to let go, because the illusion is that you'll hurt yourself by letting them go, and that's just an illusion. Although I am addressing that it might be difficult to break the attachment, there is no really hurting of self. There's just allowing this person to sit in their 5 pentacles. You're not abandoning anyone. You're just letting them sit in their unawakened states, you know, but to truly feel it, to not be another part of their distraction. And so I feel like this is coming from you. But this is also in this person's inability to choose this connection by becoming awakened and dropping all of this stuff. They inadvertently let you go, or brought to this connection to the point of you having to let it go. Because I feel like a lot of you guys would have not have walked away, would have not have abandoned, would have not have left if this person was seeing through their own unawakened state. Things move so fast, and I didn't know how to trust my feeling for you. So the inauthentic self is what they're connected to. They cannot have true authentic feelings when they're inauthentic themselves. And so there is this staying in a state of distraction allows me to control how fast this goes and where I go. So it's a protective mechanism. Because when they get out of this and they realize that they have to be in an awakened state, there is nothing protecting them from what they feel for you. It's just feeling raw emotions in the moment. And so they don't trust their authentic self to feel in the moment. It's too scary. Right now, I could feel through a lens of inauthenticity. I could feel through a lens of, you know, this distracted state, this state that still can kind of go into my mind when I need to protect myself and go into my ego and go into all these mind stories. It creates a safe world for me in the mind, rather than removing that story and just facing you and feeling these emotions that are going to be very raw. That's scary. That would require vulnerability. And so I don't know about moving too fast, other than just the point here that's saying, I need to control the pace. And I'm too scared that all of a sudden I'm going to feel something I don't want to feel. Because in this state, I could control how fast things move. Because I could kick it back into this dream state. And when I shatter that illusion that this doesn't exist, this false self doesn't exist, there's nowhere to run. So I do this to control. I do love you. Just don't know how to show you right now. Right, because to show you would mean I'd have to drop my ego. To show you would mean I'd have to leave that world of protection, which I don't know how to do. All I know is how to go back into this unawakened state. There is no one else thinking about you all day. So confirming this cheating, I feel like this person is definitely feeling your energy, like I mentioned with this telepathic, this union, that there is you and only you in a union, and that's the driver here for the change. But I do feel for a lot of you guys, because of the way this person is unawakened, there's a lot of question here. If they're this unawakened, how committed can they be to this union? They're not. They're committed to the alcohol. They're committed to the getting high. They're committed to their friends, the partying. They're committed to work in an unhealthy way, that there is someone else. The someone else is the something else. And this is what I feel you're trying to convey to this person, is that, hey, you're in a state of unawakened state. You're choosing everything and everyone ahead of this union. That's not how this works. So it doesn't matter how much you feel about me or love me or think about me. Your actions are choosing something else that's violating this union. This union isn't built upon you being unawakened and choosing all of this unhealthy stuff. And so technically they're not choosing you at all. You know, it's hurtful. You are the one and only. So again, with this, I'm trying to convince you, I want to stay in my unawakened state. And you be there, because I'm devoting myself to you. You're the only one. It's like you're on another level here of seeing the union in its purity and saying, no, as long as you're distracting yourself, then you're not choosing me and this union and us. You're remaining by choice, staying in some fantasy world here, however his choice of distraction is, but I guess this is definitely confirming his need to be understood by you, that he's devoted to you in some fashion, but it's like devoted to you outside of the devotion he has to his mind story, his distraction, and his pretend world. It's a protection here. That's what he's choosing. He's not choosing you. No one makes me feel the way you do. You are the best I ever had. So he's definitely missing you if you guys are in separation here. There's a recognition. Of course he misses you. Of course you're the best he's ever had. You were made for him and he was made for you. Queen and King of Swords. You understand him. He understands you. There's a union here. I'm sorry for messing everything up. You deserve so much more. So higher self. Higher self knows this is unacceptable behavior here. Unawakened. You deserve an awakened masculine. So he needs to let you go and be with someone who's awakened, or he needs to level up his game. And we know in the twin flame journey, he has to level up. There's no choice, but only when the divine feminine pulls away. He has no choice. He might think he has a choice, but he's just burning and turning. He's going to wear out. He has to level up. I never expected to fall in love. No, I wanted to stay here in this clueless world. Just like we never expected to have a huge shift, an identity crisis where our whole world fell apart. Nobody expected nothing, This love is this highest, purest potential that brings out the best in us, but it doesn't come without a lot of pain of addressing our suffering that's always been there, And so this twin flame journey isn't creating the suffering. This twin flame journey is making us identify the suffering that's already been there. The suffering has always been there. It's acknowledging that we might not want to do, because we've been so attached to the version of who we are. And I feel this person's been really attached to the way that they are, focused on this distracted version, not wanting to fall in love, acknowledge this part of themselves. It was shut out. I hope to have a future with you one day. So again, 10 cups. I know of a better way. I know of a future. And that, like I said, is the driver to make change. But if this person was incapable of being awakened, beforehand, because there was no real motivating reason, they were ignoring this level up, if you will, this call to action, it's now very apparent to them that there's a call to action of an awakened version of them that is more ascended. And the only way to reach and strive for that is to deal with the stuff that isn't helping, that is keeping them stuck. And so they're delaying, prolonging, avoiding, trying to still maintain that world until it comes to a point where they have to address it. And when they address it, you're the first person that this person is coming to, because you're the one this person wants to be with. And you say, we can't in this state because you can't choose to be with someone that is in this unconscious state. It doesn't work. It doesn't flow. You're a Queen of Swords reversed. They're a King of Swords in the upright. There's a disconnect of energy, of understanding. You can't understand this world. I mean, you understand it on a conceptual level, but it isn't reality. You're not wanting to play fantasy. It's like reality or nothing, you know? So either they can join you in reality or they could stay in fantasy. And it's like, I'm in fantasy here. And then one day when I get into reality, you know, I'll come join you. But of course, they don't know they're in fantasy. They're making all sorts of reasons to stay here because it's protecting them. They have control in this world. So pile number 2, this is your reading. I hope this helped you. I love you very much. And I'm sending you guys the very, very best. All right. Bye-bye. Hello, pile number 3. You guys picked the Grunge Tarot. Wonderful. Let's take a look at this twin flame journey, or this journey experience you're having between you and the person you came here about, and see where things at. So I do highly, highly suggest you go listen to the intro for this reading, okay? Please and thank you, because then this will make much better context for you. Okay, so let's take a look at what's going on with pile number 3 in this twin flame journey, this experience they're having between them and the person on their mind. Please protect me and the viewer and this connection as I channel this message for the greatest and highest good. Please help me to channel this message in a way that pile 3 will understand. Clear and concise message for the greatest and highest good spirits of everyone involved. Thank you so much for allowing me to channel this message. Pile number 3. Clear and concise message for pile 3. What's going on here energetically in this twin flame journey, and this connection between pile 3 and the person on their mind? What covers you? What crosses you beneath you? Behind you? What crowns you? Immediately before you? For future? See self, see the environment, hopes and fears, outcome. And let's pull some of these. Now, stay tuned for the ending. We'll pull some messages from your person. Clear and concise message. What's going on here with pile number 3 in this journey? Clear and concise message. Well, we had these 2 fall out. We have thirsty and misunderstanding. Speaking of thirsty, give me a minute. Alrighty. This is going to be a juicy one, Spirit. Clear and concise message for the greatest and highest good of pile number 3. What's going on here in this dynamic? Remember, energy can definitely be reversed. I could be tapping into your person's energy. Take what resonates here, okay? Beautiful angels. Let's move all of this jibber jabber. Okie dokie. Misunderstanding and thirsty. Uh-oh. What happened here? Are we talking about a secluded incident that has happened? All the other piles were kind of talking about an overall, so let's see. You got away. You're the one that got away. I'll look for you in the next lifetime. Regret. I regret walking away. I wish I knew then what I know now. Uh-oh. Somebody did something. Somebody chose poorly here. Forever changed. You changed my life without even trying, and the old me is dead and gone. Clingy. Chaser. Fated connection. Fear of commitment. Okay. I don't know who I'm tapped into here. It definitely could be your person, okay? Or it could be you, but we'll see. I have a feeling I might be tapped into a snapshot of what's going on here. So let's see what's going on overall here. We have the Four of Pentacles. Yeah. And the Hangman. Pisces energy is a crossing. In the subconscious, we have Justice in reverse, Libra energy. Passing position, we have the Two of Wands in reverse. Someone made a choice here. Five Swords in the crowning position. Immediate future, we have Empress, Taurus, Libra. Far future, we have the High Priestess, Pisces energy. Wow. Major, 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 major. See self, Seven of Cups in reverse. No one made a poor choice. Sees environment, Page of Pentacles in reverse, and Nine Swords. Hopes and fears, the Queen of Wands in reverse. Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, and outcome strength, Leo. And the bottom of the deck, we have the Nine Wands. And what's under that's the Temperance. Okay. Beautiful people. I have a feeling I am reading for a divine masculine here. I'm not talking gender. Okay, so this definitely could be your person, okay? But I'm just going to refer to it as this person, okay? It might come out your person because that's how it's channeled. But anyway, enough semantics. I'm just letting you know what's going on. This person made a choice that they truly regret. They chose something that was better in the moment for them, better. It says thirsty, okay? This doesn't have to mean necessarily sexually getting involved with another person so much, okay? But I do feel like it came out with misunderstanding. And so whatever this was, I feel created a divide between you and your person because they chose, well, for some of you guys, maybe, you know, if your person's an alcoholic, your person chose to drink. That could be symbolic of choosing the devil. They chose to just give into their temptation, whatever the temptation is. Okay, and if they didn't choose that temptation, it's like there's some disconnect here in regards to why they do what they do or something like this that created a misunderstanding. And now I feel like your person is energetically chasing this connection. What did I do? What did I do? I did the wrong thing. Now you're no longer interested in me. I want to hang on to you. Clingy and Four of Pentacles. All I'm left with is the experience that you brought into my world that can never be erased, that has changed me forever, because there's something about this connection that I'm tapped into here that was meant to be. And despite all of this, I was not choosing you. I couldn't commit to you. I created this lack of trust between you and me by not being able to commit to you and making a decision to choose whatever the thing was instead of this connection, instead of showing my loyalty to you. The fear got too loud that if I chose you, then there was some form of giving up of some other thing over here. And so my fear made me choose the other thing. But when choosing the other thing, it's sort of created a whirlwind of something here that now I'm sitting in. And now I'm like really having to sit and understand this completely and question everything that maybe I once carried as a belief, you know, that commitment is just a form of control, that it would lose my identity, that, you know, relationships would be something that it would seem like I'd have no way out, or that it would be too much for me to break out of in some way here. And so this first person has a fear of anyone getting sort of attached or being attached to anyone. And now this hangman is calling this person to really challenge themselves. Is it a truth or is it a fear that's sort of painting this narrative? Because even if they believe this to be true, what's louder yet here is the feelings that they have here for the person that got away, according to them. And so now they're sitting here with a situation that they created that actually isn't even aligned to what they wanted to experience. It's not bringing to them anything except for dissatisfaction. And it's like, I couldn't choose you because the fear was so loud. And I don't know how many times or how often or how long this person sat here, or if one incident happened here where it's just created the proof is in the pudding and you haven't chosen this connection. And so therefore, that's one time too many, or that realization that the other person had, which I do feel is you, the viewer. That's like, there is no misunderstanding your actions and your choices. You're choosing to not commit. You're choosing the thing that it makes you feel good in the moment, but it's at the expense of our connection. And this is a 5 swords. This is a sabotage, and nobody won here in that energy of the non-committal, of choosing immediate gratification, of fence sitting, not fighting for this connection. And so now all hell's breaking loose. I want to fight for this connection. I need to heal this connection, to restore balance in something I did that was unjust. You are my empress. You're my everything. You're everything I could possibly ever want. You're my doorway to giving and receiving love in a capacity here that I can't experience, haven't experienced with anyone or anything. And so closing the door to this, not choosing this, closes the door to my ability to experience love, to be loved, possibly forever. And so now I'm in a whirlwind of looking at a deeper part of me that's more not so obvious. What does commitment even mean? And what does it mean to feel the way that I feel? What am I really then giving up here? Why am I very defensive? What am I fighting for? What is this version of me that must maintain something here? Is maintaining this avoidance, all of these options, all of this stuff that it was creating noise and confusion that I identified as choices in my world, choices that I wanted to keep available to me because the freedom to have all of these options and choices was liberating for me. But I'm realizing here there is no liberation in having choices that aren't even aligned to me anyway. Things that don't feel good, things that are misaligned, that aren't speaking to me, that don't make me feel the way this Empress makes me feel, but just on principle, leaving it open here has created this divide. I didn't want all these things. What was my point of all these things and all of these options and all of these other opportunities that I don't even experience in the same way I might have at one point in time, having experienced the truth of love, the truth of unconditional love, the truth of an Empress now makes everything else seem sort of empty. What have I done? What have I done? The only opportunity I had to love in a way here that was going to show me, that was going to free me of this dysfunction is now potentially completely gone. And I don't know how to make it better. And I don't know how to step forward here and face this thing. I know my person is not interested or gone away and feeling like I don't value her because I haven't shown her in action. I've chosen all the other things, and by not committing on principle here, by making it all confusing and not making it formal or official or certain to her, it's devalued her, diminished her worth. And she understands this or sees this. What have I done? And now this is digging into my depths, my reservoirs here of truly challenging myself to confront this version of me. This version of me that's like, now looking back on hindsight, it's like, wow, what was important? Whatever I thought was important actually was what wasn't. It was what created all sorts of dissatisfaction with me and my Empress. And instead of experiencing the Empress today and forever, now I'm experiencing an empty feeling of something I totally screwed up because she is not having any of this. How do I heal this? How do I show up? What is it that I need to say or do or confront here within myself? And how do I go about this? But I'm willing to do it. I must do it because the alternative is sitting here and understanding I did something that doesn't feel right, that ruined what could have been the best possible thing here. So I'm sort of sitting in my consequences, if you will. Yeah, I'm going to do everything in my power to make it right and to heal this. Whew, okay, well, somebody is wanting to change things up here, pile number 3, because whatever they did here was definitely not in line with this union, was definitely not in line with what they're saying makes them feel loved. You know, the 7 Cups choice here. And I feel for some of you guys it's just fence sitting, and not committing. And now they're chasing you. Energetically, this person is coming towards you. They want to get you back. And I feel for some of you guys, maybe they've already tried. And maybe you're just like, no, you know? So let's see, what do they want to say? What does pile number 3's person wants to say here? Clear and concise message for the greatest and highest good. Now this could be flipped. Because again, I think I read that energy is your person, you know? And all the other piles were sort of looking from your perspective. So let's see. What comes through here in regards to what does pile 3's person wants to say to pile 3, if they were to say anything at all. You are so beautiful inside and out. I sabotage this connection and I regret it. Don't make this stuff up, folks. You're seeing it firsthand. All I'm thinking about right now is how attracted to you I am. I think about you so much, it's scaring me. This person's in a mind prison here, you know, of the Empress. Please don't hate me for ghosting you. You didn't deserve it. So this person was supposed to make a choice, stand forward, and be courageous. And they just, like I said, head sat, didn't do the right thing, didn't make the right choice. I'm so sorry for messing everything up. You deserve so much more. Lots of regrets. I'm going to pull 3 more. What does pile number 3's person wants to say here? I never expected to fall in love with you so quickly. This person as mega fear of commitment, and now they're kind of needing to address these fears within them. And it's like every other connection, I haven't had to face love and what I would do in the face of love here. Now my love is competing with the fear of commitment. So truth wins always, but we need to see the lie. And this person has been sitting in a lie. And what's the lie? Fear of commitment. The fear is the lie. And this doesn't mean everyone needs to be married. This just means the fear of whatever story this person is telling themselves a commitment would mean. An end to my liberation, an end to my identity. Some story they're telling themselves. It's just a fear story. So this confronted with an Empress energy, which is going to win. The Empress is going to win because the Empress is unconditional love. It's based in truth with a capital T. But oh my gosh, I held this fear all my life. And now my identity that's based on that fear is crumbling. And so we might be going through a midlife crisis of sorts here, where all of the identities we hung on to, I am independent, free, single, date who I want, do what I want. It's like this identity that we create. That's really the prison. That's what needs to get shattered so this person can be truly liberated to get whatever they want. Like make a choice what they want. Because right now their fears are making the choice. The fear of not committing, or the fear of committing and not choosing the Empress is actually restricting. It's not freeing them. It's the opposite that they're experiencing. No one makes me feel the way you do. You're the best I ever had. Well, something shattered their illusion here, and it had to be the Empress. I don't want to let you go. I miss being with you. So there's the dilemma. Do I want to believe in the story and the fear and let you go? To what? To prove myself this identity is real? Meanwhile, it's just a fear. Meanwhile, it's an illusion. Or do I want to free myself of this fear and this story that's not even true and allow myself to love? So lots of fears here, lots of regret. Pile number 3, this is your reading. I hope this helped you guys. I love you guys very, very much. If you're drawn to another pile, I will see you there. All right, bye-bye.